He's alive!
Ladies and germs, it's Myke Hideous back here again on the Hideous Diversion podcast. I would like to say, well, thank you for tuning in. And if you can, please hit that like button, subscribe, and share, and all that shit. Mr. B, why don't you say hello, buddy?
Hey, man, I'm here for another hideous diversion.
20, what the hell is it? 23?
Episode 23, baby.
23. Moving along, doing well, doing well. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have a special guest with us tonight, an old friend of mine from, I should say, an old bandmate from Empire Hideous back in the day. The bass player of the band Empire Hideous, or shall I say Mrs. Eve Lestrange. Say hello, Eve.
Hello.
Okay. All right.
Very happy to
welcome.
be here on Hideous Diversions.
Well, I'm pleased to have you. Thanks very much. It's been many, many years since we've actually seen each other. That's a lie because we saw each other last time on the show. For those of you who don't know, we had a little issue. We actually interviewed Eve for, I believe it was episode 21, maybe 20. I can't remember, but something happened and the episode was lost to time. So we're back again. So I'm not going to pretend. I'm just going to say it straight out. We screwed up.
We're going to just call it an eye issue. But as much as I love Apple, not necessarily as a company, but as far as their products, I think they're superior to everything. Unfortunately, I connected my work computer, which is an iMac. It's a MacBook Air, to my badass computer that I use for everything. And it got, because our episodes are so massive, like they're like 30, 40 gigs, it maxed out my MacBook Air. And I had to clear some stuff, and I didn't realize that it linked to the account. And so I accidentally deleted Eve. And Eve, I want to apologize to you for that. I really do. That was a really good episode. I also want to say you are the first female to ever be on our show.
That is true.
After 22 episodes. And I'm really happy that you're the first one. And I hope we have more females on this show, because we're kind of leaving out the whole other sex here. So this is exciting for me. It's exciting.
And
Well, I'm happy to be here, and we can make this episode even better.
And I quote from Eve Lestrange one time: "Why do I always get the girl questions?" Unquote. You remember that?
I remember that. Yeah, we were filming To Build an Empire.
That is correct. We were up at, if I remember correctly, my girlfriend Carrie's house. Was it my girlfriend at the time? No,
Oh, you were married.
Was I married still?
Yeah, you were married
Yeah.
when I met you. Yeah.
Yeah, but when we went up to her house at that lake. Remember?
Yeah.
That's where we filmed that, and you were in the back seat of, I think, Mars's car.
Yeah.
Mark asked you something like, "Why do I always get the women question?"
Yeah. Why can't you ask Mike one of the women question?
So anyway, for those of you who don't know, Eve joined up with my band, the Empire Hideous, in the year of our Lord 1993. No, two. No,
Two.
one.
No. Two
Was
or
I
three?
married? Was I married? Yes, I was married.
Yes, you were.
So it had to be 91, 92.
I think it was 92.
Probably 92.
Yeah.
And so Eve came into the band as a bass player. Fresh, never been in a band before, right? Never played in the band.
Nope.
So she was a little nervous when she came in. Didn't really have an experience of playing in a band at the time. And mind you, Empire Hideous was still very new too. I mean, we were still making our dent in the music industry, music scene, I should say, underground music scene. And so we weren't really anything. In fact, I am comfortable to say that I don't think Empire Hideous became something until around 1994. How do you feel about that comment?
Yeah, probably. I mean, we were well on our way, you know.
We were a four-piece, if you recall.
Yeah.
It was me, you, Mars, Ed,
Mhm.
Ed
Ed.
Minus, who I recently just spoke to. He's going to come on the show in September.
Oh,
But
good.
but we had Ed, and we were still really coming together. It had been a while since I actually had things organized from the first lineup years earlier. In fact, just a couple years earlier, because the second lineup didn't work out. And you guys were technically like the third lineup, you, Mars, and Ed. So, all right, here's what happened. So Eve gets in the band. I get us 3 gigs. The first gig I got was at the Bank. The first time we ever played the Bank in New York City, which was, I believe, August 6th or 7th, 1992, or 1991. And the next gig we had, if I remember correctly, was at CBGB's on a Friday night for Suffering Clowns Night of Misanthropy, right? Second gig. And the third gig I got us was at the Limelight, right? Okay. And then after that, you remember what happened after that?
No.
The first American Goth Fest
Okay.
in the country. So Eve never been in a band before, never had been in a band before. The first gig, the Bank, we had a great turnout. I hadn't played in a couple of years at that point. Play at the Bank, we get all these people, a big supportive band, supportive fans. The next gig we get on a Friday night at CBGB's for Suffering Clowns Night of Misanthropy, which was a very big gothic night. And then we get the gig at the Limelight opening for the Wake at the Limelight on a Tuesday night, which was Communion. That was huge. We had like 700 or 800 people in the audience that night.
Yeah, that was a great show.
That's right. And a lot of people didn't know who we were. Again, still coming fresh and new. I had some people tell me, "Oh, we thought you were from England. We thought you were a band from England." But anyway, long story short, after all those 3 gigs, we then get a gig in California. We get a number of gigs in California for what was called the American Goth Fest, first of its kind, also known as the Pilgrimage Tour in California. Yes.
California, yeah.
Yes, we know you love California, Mr. B. We did about 4 shows along the coast, or not on the coast, I should say, up and down the country. Let me start again. Up and down the state of California. And it was pretty good. We had like the first night we played what was it, San Diego. There was about 500 people, 400 or 500 people there, including members of Christian Death. Parish was there. Paris. What is it?
I was from London After Midnight.
Somebody
Is that
from
who
yeah, Jeremy from London After Midnight was
Yeah.
there. You remember the other? You remember we get to after we get out of the airport. I should say after we land from the airplane, we see the guitar player from London After Midnight, Jeremy, and the woman Tara Bai, and what was his name? Oh shit, I forget his name, and I know him too. Her boyfriend at the time, we were going to stay at their house,
Mhm.
and we get picked up in a white hearse.
A white antique hearse.
How cool was that? Mr. B, we felt like rock stars when we landed. We got off that plane. Here we are, and black leather jackets and our black clothes, wearing our black sunglasses, carrying guitars and stuff, looking like a band. And we walk out to a fucking white hearse. All right. So we get picked up at the airport by a hearse. We go to the apartment where Tara and what was his name? My God, I can't remember his name. Anywho, we go to this apartment where we're going to stay. And when we get there, first of all, we didn't get a van like I had asked for. We got this car. Remember the car?
Remember the car.
I remember when we pulled up to the apartment, I could see Eve. I think it was Eve and Mars in the back of the seat of the car, back seat of the car, with like 3 stacks of guitar cases on top of their laps because they didn't give us a van like I had asked for, reserved. We get to Hertz or whatever it was. They're like, oh, we don't have a van. I'm like, well, we reserved the van. Well, what we have is this car. So as you could imagine, 4 people with instruments and bags. You know, we didn't have enough room. And
They did give us a van though.
they did because
They did, yeah.
when we pulled up in front of the apartment where we were going to stay, the radiator broke. And so I get on the phone and I'm screaming at you sons of bitches. I'm like, get me a fucking van now. And they got us a van.
Was it a minivan?
It was a minivan, but it was a van nonetheless. It was a van nonetheless. We didn't ask for like one of those econo line vans or something like that. But all we needed, because we didn't have a lot of it. We didn't have a drum kit. When you don't have a drum kit, you don't have a lot more of equipment than you think you do. So yeah, we finally get there. We do the first show in San Diego. Things went really well. And I'm saying all this because, as I just mentioned, Eve had never been in a band before. So it was really a whole new experience for her. Mars, the guitar player, Mars, he had been a roadie for a band named The Fiends, who, just by chance, we are going to be interviewing Jerry Jones, the lead singer of The Fiends, in a couple of weeks, actually. So, but that's a whole other story. And Ed, I don't know if Ed had any prior experience in a band or not, but yeah, there were like 3 people that I had gotten that had never really played the levels of shows that I was about to book from that point on. And yeah. And so after 1998, the band broke up, Empire Hideous, that is. And Eve and I haven't really seen each other or hung out or talked to each other on a friendly basis in, golly, 27 years, give or take.
It's a long time.
It is. So why don't you start by telling us what the hell is up? What are you doing these days?
I'm writing now. I have 4 books out now. I'm working on another one, and that's it. I really don't do music anymore because I couldn't really find where I fit in. Like I would find a band of dedicated musicians, but I didn't like the music. Or I would find a band I really liked their music, but they were just really flaky. So I couldn't find the right balance. So I thought, well, let me step back from that. Let me do something else. So I just started writing.
Interesting. I stepped out of music myself back in officially retired in 2008. Although I'm doing my second retirement. I just did it in June.
Who do you think you are, David Bowie?
Yeah. It's a long story, but we're not here to talk about me. We're here to talk about you. And why don't you tell us the title of your first book? And if you will, Mr. B, could you possibly pull that image up for everyone to see?
The title of the first book is Widdershins, and it's got a really beautiful cover. It was done by an artist named Jose Porto, and that was published by an independent publisher who is thankfully now out of business. So
Oh, I
when he went,
remember that. Yes, I remember
yeah,
seeing it.
yeah. So when he went out of business, I just decided to republish it on my own because
Okay.
he had made, but there were a lot of mistakes in there, like spelling errors and grammatical errors. I said, who proofread this? And he said he had somebody overseas do it. Another person told me his brother-in-law does it. I said, well, the hell with it. I'll do it myself. This way I know it's done right. Because if you want something done right, you have to do it
Do it
yourself.
yourself. Exactly. That's
Do
what
it
I do.
yourself. So I did, and now it's out. You can get it, and it's correct now.
And could you give us a little background on what this type of writing is all about? Like, in
This
other
is
words, what's the basic premise of the story?
this is about an 18th century witch, and I had read a book called Raising Hell by Robert Masello, and there was a chapter in there about this woman named Lavoisin, and she would make potions and she would do spells for the aristocrats in Paris. So I thought that'd be a really cool story, but let me make the character younger and let me move it up to the 18th century instead of the 17th century. And I just took it from there because I had read so many occult books since I was like 12. So there was a lot that I knew. So there was a lot that I could put into this story and really develop this character. And I think it came out really well.
It's interesting you mentioned the name of that book that you're reading, Raising Hell. I have that book.
Yeah,
It's
that's a
a
great book.
that is a fascinating book. There's a lot of it's like almost like an encyclopedia of different bits of information, if I'm correct,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Yeah, great book. I love that book. Um, okay, so your second book, what was the title of that?
The second one is Solitary Fire. It's a sequel to Widdershins. It picks up the main character, Christina Lafarge. It picks up her story, and it just continues of her journey along the left-hand path.
Let's see. And this is self-published.
Yes, published through Amazon. Yeah.
Do you prefer the self-publishing as opposed to a publisher?
With everything I went through with the first publisher, yeah, I'd rather do it myself.
Hmm.
You have a lot more control, over what you can do, what you can put in the book. Because sometimes the publishers they'll tell you, well, you should take this out, or maybe you should have the character do this or word this differently. It's like, I don't want to word this differently. This is the 18th century. This is how they spoke. This is what they said. And if you read books that were published in that time period, you really get a feel for how people spoke, what they thought, what they were afraid of, what they were concerned with. So, I tried to put all that into these stories.
Do you tend to use now you just mentioned how people spoke in that time frame. What were the 1600s are we talking about?
1700s.
1700s. All right. So not to get off the topic of your writing and publishing, but I have to ask you this. Now you've seen The Witch. I'm pretty sure
Yes.
you saw the movie The Witch, right?
Oh yeah, definitely.
I won't
Now,
watch it. I won't watch it.
uh,
I saw the trailer, man, and I was like, I ain't watching that shit.
what is one of my top 5 favorite occult movies. I absolutely love that film. And it only came out what in 2016 or 15, I think. I don't
Yeah,
remember.
somewhere around there.
But when I saw that for the first time, I flipped my wig, and I'll tell you why. And I'm getting to why I'm bringing this up. When I watched that film, first of all, the director, Robert Edgers, who just recently did Nosferatu, again, fabulous movie. I really began to like his work. And when I saw The Witch, I was intrigued the way it was portrayed or acted, and that being in a style of period. In other words, they spoke like they spoke in the 1600s as the pilgrims that came to America to find a better life. They spoke in Old English. Now, are you saying that that's how you write in these books? Because I got to be honest, I didn't read the book, so I'm not going to lie to you. I don't know how you wrote it, but I'm curious. Did you write in period?
Not in Old English. Old English, the witch, I think, was 100 years before this story. So it's not in Old English, but it's, sort of how they spoke. Like, they wouldn't say, hey, what's up, dude? They just,
No,
it's
really?
not,
No.
it's not in like today's language. It's a little more but it's readable. It's not hard to understand. It's very readable.
Are
But it's more
you
of I guess more of a literary style, kind of like what H.P. Lovecraft did.
he's from the Victorian age, isn't he?
Well, yeah, later Victorian. He was born, I think, late 1800s, because he died in 1937. So late 1800s he was born.
Right. Are you capable of reading, writing, and or understanding the Old English?
I can read it and I can understand it. Writing it, I don't think I'd be able to do, but I can read it and understand it, because
It's
some books I have are written in Old English, so you really have to be careful. You just have to read it slower.
yeah.
It's not something that you can just, skim through or speed through. You really have to pay attention to it.
It's
And
interesting you bring.
I think
I'm
that
so,
turns a lot of people off.
I was going to say it's interesting that you bring that up because the first time I saw The Witch, I watched it um without any subtitles, and I just listened, or I actually more visual. I watched it as a movie. The second time, and even third time I watched it with the subtitles so I could better understand what it was they were saying and how they were talking. Because
I did the same thing. Yeah.
it's rather confusing. It's just so much more poetic,
Mm.
a style of speaking than it could ever be today. I mean, today you literally have they have no fucking idea how to speak, and that's
No,
because
they don't.
they get out of they're graduating high school, even grammar school, and they're not capable of understanding how to properly read or write, and that's a shame because with
It is.
all the knowledge and the technology, and the modern times that we're in, and people barely know how to write or like spell a word correctly. You know what bothers me so much? When I see the word, when someone says, well, I'm not going to see it till later, and they spell it T-I-L-L, when technically it's spelled apostrophe T-I-L. God, that bothers me. Anyway, just a lack of education, I think, is what the story is there. All
Hey,
right, so
Myke, can you quit making fun of me, man? Okay, please.
Maybe till later. Till later, I'll make fun of you. Till later. Um. Anyway, the fact of the matter is here, I wanted to see if that was something you incorporated into your writing, but you're saying that your books are just an easy read. They're not too complicated.
Right, right. It's not in Old English, but it's kind of like in a poetic literary style. There's a lot of descriptions, so you can really see what the character's seeing and feel what the character's feeling. Just feel like if you read H.P. Lovecraft, especially his dream stories, he can get very literary and very poetic, and that's what I tried to do.
You
But
consider
they're not in Old English. They're very readable and they're understandable.
do you consider yourself to be do you write poems at all?
Yeah, well, a lot of the spells in the book, a lot of them have to rhyme. So that's probably the hardest thing to do. That takes me the longest because it has to rhyme.
Right.
Because when people were practicing witchcraft back then, a lot of them were illiterate. So it was easier to remember something if it rhymed.
Is that so? I never realized
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, a lot of people, 1600s, 1700s, and even, some into the 1800s, then a lot of people weren't very literate. So it was, if something rhymed, it was a lot easier for you to remember it.
So let's talk about the third book,
Mm.
which is called
Path of Shadows. And that continues the story. That is the last book I wrote with this character. The book I'm working on now is sort of a prequel to Widdershins, but This was the last book with the main character, Christina Lafarge. So it just continues, her journey.
And is her journey strictly just the path of witchcraft, or is it a journey of life, or is it a combination?
It's a combination. It's her life on the left-hand path. I don't want to give away too much of it, but because read the books.
Of course, of course.
Yeah.
And on that note, we have to take a pause to look at Mr. B's puppy, Mr. B.
Hello. Say hi,
Hey.
Kit. Kit. You say hi. You say hi. Yes. Hello. Hello.
Oh. How is he do? How is he?
Yeah.
How's she doing?
Oh, she's doing fine, man. She's
Yeah.
was messing with my lights here, so I had to pick her up. But yeah, no, she's doing good. She's blind, She had one eye when she was born, and then the cat got her other eye, so
Oh,
we had to get it taken out.
Whenever you tell me that story, I am absolutely heartbroken. This poor thing had one eye, and then the goddamn cat had to just screw everything up.
Yeah. I'll find a picture of her with the one eye, and I'll show it to you guys in a second. So you can see her with the one eye. Because she's so damn cute,
Oh, the one eye.
Yeah, but she's doing real good. No problem.
All right. Well, I just wanted your puppy and you to say hello. Now we will continue with our interview of Eve Lestrange. All right, Eve. So let us discuss the fourth book you have.
That book is called Blood Moon Over the Chesapeake. That's a standalone story. That is more like it's about the ghost of a witch and how she comes back, and she has some unfinished business. So that's all I want to say about that. But this book takes place,
business, huh?
Yeah. This book takes place in the 1920s in Baltimore, Maryland. I have some really old family documents that I was going through, and my mother's side of the family is from Baltimore. So that's why I decided to set the story there. So that's a standalone. It has nothing to do with the other three, but it's just as good.
Interesting. And who did the cover for this, or did
Amazon Thumbnails?
Oh, okay.
Which, by the way, doesn't have a lot of images that are horror friendly. But for the next book, I've been in contact with a friend of mine who offered to do the cover art for my next book. So
cool.
We should get a really good cover out of that one.
Okay, cool. So, sorry. So we've seen 4 books that you have currently written and that are available. How would people get these books from you?
They could go right to Amazon, or they could go to my website and it'll take them right to Amazon. They're available.
Okay.
You can get a printed book, you can get an ebook. If you want a signed printed copy, you can go to Wolf's Lair Collectibles on eBay and you can get a signed copy there.
All right, we'll list your website towards the end of the episode. So now you're currently writing another one, correct?
Correct.
And now is this a continuation of the character from the first 3 books?
Sort of. It's a prequel to Widdershins.
Oh, okay. All right.
So it's everything that Christina Lafarge, the main character, it's everything her mother went through before Widdershins picks up.
All right.
Because she learns everything. Well, I'm kind of giving stuff away here. She kind of learns everything from her benefactor, which turns out to be her mother. So it's everything her mother went through, everything she learned, and how she gave birth to Christina. So it's everything before Widdershins.
Nice. And again, you're doing self-publishing, right? You prefer that. I see.
Mhm.
Yeah. I did the same thing with when I wrote a book called King of an Empire to the Shoes of a Misfit. And at first I went through one of those publishing companies. They'll publish it for you, and then they take care of everything else. That was okay. But that was back in that was in 2001 or two. Can't remember exactly. But they did it, and I had an agreement with them. Long story short, they breached the contract like 3 times. So I told them, you guys are done. And that was the end of that. So after that, I went for years, like 15 years, until I redid it. I rewrote the whole thing, not rewrote it, re-edited, re-released it on my own, printed it up myself, and sold it that way. And then I redid it again in 22. And now the book is sold out, and I'm not doing any more copies of it. I'm done. But what I was going to get at is, yeah, you have a lot more control when you do it yourself. And as a matter of fact, I didn't even go through like an Amazon or anything like that. I literally had the book printed on my own. And I would do like 100 copies at a time and then sell them. And as they sold, I'd just get more copies printed. Yeah, the only problem with that is that, you got to get all these boxes and you got to store them and everything. So I get it when you say, you're having Amazon do it. I understand it's probably very easy. And
it's free. So.
And it's free. As opposed to some of the other publishing companies who, you mentioned earlier how they want to, a lot of times they want to guide the writer into doing what they want as opposed to the writer wants. The second time I was going to have my book done, it was through a company called firstbooks.com or something like that. And mind you, this was the second time I was going to have the book printed through them. But by that time, 15 years had passed, and they were so uptight and probably concerned about getting sued for not propaganda. What would you call it? Yellow journalism or something like that. I don't know. Plagiarism. Thank you. And they kept telling me, you can't say this, you shouldn't say that, you can't talk about that. I'm like, what do you mean I can't? This is all real stuff. It all happened. This is all taken from journals. Do you know what they said to me? You know the band Christian Death, right?
Oh yeah.
Of course. So in the first few chapters, I talk about how the style of music was comparison with Empire Hideous to Christian Death. And they told me I couldn't use those two words together, Christian Death. I'm like, why not? It's a band. Yeah, well, it might upset people. I'm like,
they don't want to make people like me angry.
But I mean, it's a band. I mean, it's a band.
Isn't that a whole point of what bands do? Is piss people off?
Right. They told me I couldn't talk about. There was a lawsuit that took place between Glenn Danzig and the Misfits, like Jerry and Doyle. They didn't want me to talk about that either. It's like it's not like I'm posting personal information. I'm telling you exactly what happened. They didn't want me to print. They didn't want me to write it. So yes, I get it. You have more control. I think a lot of people who are authors these days are doing that. So I get it. I totally get it.
Yeah.
When can your fans, when can they expect this 5th book of yours out?
Not for a while. I'm not even halfway through it. But funny story. When I did the copyright for Witterson's laptop for the copyright, you publishers, they send you emails, publish with us. And well, I had an email from a Christian publishing company, and I'm thinking, have you guys read this at all? Do you have any idea what it's about? Because if you did, you wouldn't want to publish it. I should have sent it to them anyway.
Oh God.
Yeah. That would have been interesting.
All right. So
hey, Eve, I have a lot of friends that would be very interested in learning about you and your books. So I will pass on the word. You know, us
Thank you. I
ghost
appreciate
hunters
that.
tend to have a lot of witch friends. So, you know, I'll definitely get the word out there.
Who has a lot of witch friends?
Me,
Do
I'm a
you
ghost
now?
hunter. Ghost hunters, I mean, we hang out with witches all the time, man.
Oh, I had no idea. You
A
never
lot.
told me
There's a
that.
lot of witches that are ghost hunters.
I
Yeah.
figured there'd be a lot of people who are like maybe ESP.
Oh yeah, you know, you get the mediums and all that, but no, there's a lot of people that are witches that are ghost hunters. A lot of them.
It's very interesting. I never knew
And
that about you.
real quick, I want to show you a picture of Kit with, you know, with an eye. And this is when we
With
first
an
got
eye.
her. See, she's
Oh,
now,
Oh,
now what's strange is now that that eye's gone,
oh,
this eye you used to just see, you could just see white, and now you can see brown. So she did something, and I think she can see shadows sometimes, just slightly, but that eye never you know, completely developed. So it's kind of crazy, dude. But yeah, I think she can see shadows.
the body will accommodate itself
Right.
when need be.
Yeah.
mm.
Yeah. She's a survivor.
That's great. Well, she was a puppy in that picture, right?
Oh yeah, yeah. That's when we first got her.
Adorable. Give her a kiss from me when you see her.
I will.
So, Eve, I have some other questions. So all this talk about witchcraft.
Mhm.
Are you a witch?
Define which.
Do you fly on a broom at night? No, I'm kidding.
All the time, yeah.
Me too. We'll have to meet up one night in the clouds. My question is, let me be more accurate. If you're asking me what is the definition of a witch, do you practice witchcraft? Do you cast spells? Do you do rituals? Do you uh you know love spells,
There are a lot of
curses, hexes?
there are a lot of factions of witchcraft, just like there are a lot of factions of Christianity. What Christina Lafarge, my character.
Explain. What do you
Okay, like
mean?
Christians, there's Protestants, there's Catholics, there's Seventh
Got
Day
it.
Adventists, or
Mennonite.
whatever
That
the
I
hell they
know.
are.
That I know.
Um,
But what about witchcraft?
Witches, there's gray witches, there's satanic witches, there's Wiccans. What my main character, Christina Lafarge, is doing, she's not doing anything Wiccan. She's
Oh
doing,
yeah,
yeah, everything she's
Wiccans
doing is
are
satanic. Yeah.
they're homosexuals. No, I'm kidding. I got nothing against homosexuals. Wiccan is gay. And by gay I mean stupid. All right. When what was his name? Gardner, who did
Gerald
Wicca?
Gardner.
Eric Gardner back in the
Gerald,
60s. It
Gerald
was like
Gardner.
it was Gerald, thank you. He was a hippie.
Mhm.
And if I remember correctly, and then the whole thing with let's face it, prior to 1960s, witchcraft was a cult. It was nothing related with modern religions, mainstream religions. Witchcraft, if you were a witch, you got burned. Well, not prior 1960s, but I'm talking like the 1600s, maybe even into the early 1700s. But it was it was blasphemy. But then Wicca comes around and it's like, oh, it's okay to be a witch. Come on. That's stupid. So yeah, I hate Wiccans. I hate Wicca. I think it's stupid. But anyway, I interrupted you. You were saying
I was saying, what was I saying?
How
you
do
were
you
talking
feel
about
about Wicca, Eve?
yeah. How do you feel about Wicca?
I to each his own. It's not really for me.
What a politician.
I mean, oh God, no. Uh, it's not really for me. I mean, I like the whole like nature aspect. I get it. I understand that. I actually believe that, but it's not love and light all the time. You know, there's not unicorns running around, and it's not love and light all the time. You need dark with light. You need that balance. You can't be light all the time because it disrupts the balance. And when you disrupt the balance, then things aren't good. You need
Thank
that
you
balance.
for saying that. Thank you so much. I
You're
just
welcome.
dealt with an issue about that just recently. I can't discuss it because I don't want to offend the person. But thank you for saying that. It just really soothed my heart.
Oh, well, you're very welcome. I'm glad I could help.
So go on. So you've got various types of witchcraft. So
Mhm.
where do you fall in?
I probably am more of a gray witch. I
Define.
believe in the balance because you need balance. There's dark as well as light. If somebody wrongs you, you absolutely have the right to correct that. So I really like the Satanic Bible by Anton LaVey. There were a lot of good things in there. And so I would just refer to myself as a gray witch or eclectic. The good thing about witchcraft is it's very personal. It's what you believe, how you feel, your feelings, your beliefs, and you can put that into your rituals or your spells or whatever you're doing.
Interesting. And all right, so now you just brought up another topic. Actually, you know what? I'm going to hold on to that topic. I'm going to ask you something else here. Hold on. So, being a Grey Witch, do you work in the rituals and the ceremonies and the spells? Or
Not all
have
the
you?
time. Not all the time.
But you have.
I have, yeah.
Now, okay, before you go any further with that, when did you get started with experimenting with spells and rituals?
Well, I've been reading occult books for a really long time, since I was maybe 12. But before I wrote Widdershins, I was doing the research for it. So I was going back and reading all these things and, getting different perspectives. I would read books on Satanism. I would read books on Wicca. I would read books on the occult, books that were written, in the 1700s, books that were written in the 1960s, just to get a whole, just perspective on everything. So I had lots of material to use for the book. And that's how I kind of got interested in it. It's like I really don't identify with Christianity. I never really connected with it. And when
Were
I
you
was reading all this,
were you born into a religious family?
well, my mother was Irish and my father was Italian. So yeah,
So yes,
yeah,
Catholic.
yeah,
Catholic,
Catholic,
right? Like me.
yeah. So but I never really identified with it. So reading all this stuff, all this occult witchcraft and all this stuff, it just was really interesting, and if that I felt connected with.
Is and I don't mean to pry. Is your mom still around?
No, she passed away in 2000.
Sorry to hear that.
Thank you.
Prior to her passing, was she aware of your involvement in knowing of the occult?
She knew I liked weird stuff, but she didn't. She didn't know that. She just knew I was into like everything weird.
You know, when I was a kid in high school, freshman year, as a matter of fact, for 8 years, I went to grammar school, public grammar school. And for freshman year, for high school, my parents decided to send me off to Patterson Catholic because my older brother had gone there and was like president of everything and ran the school. So they sent me there thinking that I was going to go to college and so forth. So here's my point. In all religious schools, I should say all Catholic schools, you have to take a religion class. And I had a religion class in which I had Sister Philip. And now you know me, Eve, right? You've known me from the years that we all played together and lived in a house together. And maybe if I told you this story. So freshman year, after about the first quarter of the season, in my religion class, I was always the one who was like, Sister Philip, can we talk about Lucifer? Or Sister Philip, what did the devil do when he tempted Jesus? And I would ask all these crazy questions about things that were not so much taboo, but really not expressed or talked about within religion class. It was always about, the understanding of the teachings of Jesus and God and all that stuff. It didn't go into detail. So after like I don't know, 2 months, whatever it was, they had parent teacher night where your parents show up and talk to your teachers about their kids and how they're doing in class. So they became very concerned with me. And Sister Philip told my father and mother, well, we think your son is worshiping the devil.
And they said, no, my son is the devil.
No, they that night my father came home and says, so we talked to your religious teacher, Sister Philip, and she says you're worshiping the devil. I'm like, I am? I said, yeah, I wish somebody had told me this, because I didn't know what they were talking about. I simply was curious about things that aren't so much talked about. And I could say they might be labeled as taboo or just things that nobody wants to really bring up. And that was what made them say what they said to my parents. And I was really perturbed about that. And do you know, after that, they made me see a school psychologist.
God.
That sounds like the Catholic Church.
Yeah, well, it's a Catholic school, I'll tell you that, Patterson Catholic. So I really wanted to fuck with them one day. So I was in class with several different students that I knew, 3 of which I knew. And they said, they had us do these stupid tests, to see psychologically what was going on upstairs. So one thing, they're like,
Did
okay,
they show you the piece of paper with the ink blots on them?
Oh, it gets better than that.
Oh, no.
Better than that.
All right.
So they say to everybody, everybody, we want you all to draw a tree. So I'm not bragging, but I'm a pretty good artist, right? And I have been for most of my life. And so everybody was drawing trees, big trees with branches and leaves. Myke draws a dead tree stump. Well, that just set them off. Mr. and Mrs. Hideous, we're sorry, but your son is really not doing well. He's drawing dead tree trunks and worshiping the devil. We think
haven't they ever read The Giving Tree by Shel Silverstein? I mean, come on.
A giving tree stump.
Well, that's what happens at the end.
Well, in any event, things were not going well for me. And in another year, I would end up getting kicked out. I was real big here, but here's what I want to tell you. There were these 2 girls, Sherry and I think it was Sherry and Sharon. And 2 Jewish girls, by the way, going to a Catholic school of all things. And I'll never forget this for as long as I live. They had a book. What was it called? The Teachings of Witchcraft. I can't remember. It was a soft cover novel. So here's what's happening. I'm coming down. All right, so it's like the end of the day. Everybody's leaving. I'm walking out and I'm coming down a stairwell. And I see the 2 of them in the stairwell. And there's nobody else around. It's just the 2 of us. It's like 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. Practically everybody's gone. And I just see them. They were coming up and they said to me, all right, so I got to do this with my glasses off. You got to see what she did with her eyes.
Oh, boy.
So this girl, Sherry, says to me, she says, all googly eyed, she says, we've been studying some witchcraft. Maybe you'd like to study with us. And you could come over one day and we could cast some spells. And
Hell
she did
yeah!
this. I thought they were hitting on me, but
Maybe that would happen too.
Maybe I thought that, but that's a whole other story. So here's the weird thing that happened. Okay. And to this day, it blows my mind. So they show me this book that they had, the teachings of witchcraft or something to that effect. And she's trying to get me, one of the girls, Sherry, the taller of the girls, the prettier of the girls. And I kind of had a crush on her too, but she always had these weird googly eyes. And so, and mind you, she was Jewish, so she was probably practicing the Cthulhu, what was it, the Kabbalah. And anyway,
Torah, the Torah.
no, not the Torah. That's the Bible for the Jews. The Kabbalah is mythical, is Jewish mysticism.
Okay.
It's basically like Jewish witchcraft. I mean, you know, King Solomon was he's the one who basically started demonology.
Yeah.
The 72 demons that Solomon had built, the Jewish temple, the first Jewish temple. Are you aware of this, Mr. B?
I am not. I'm intrigued.
It's very interesting. It's one of the other reasons that I got into the witchcraft as much as I did, because of knowing the history of Jewish mysticism. But I'm getting off path here, the beaten path. So they show me this book. And they ask me, like, you should come by and we'll do spells and rituals and stuff. I was kind of freaked out because when she said what she said, she went like this: maybe you should come over. And I
see that as a sign.
I don't know I don't think it was a twitch, because she never had a twitch, like a medical twitch. But I mean, it was just weird. So we part ways. I ended up telling them, well, I'll see what I can do, and blah, blah, blah. Nothing ever happened. A couple of weeks later, I can't remember exactly. I think there was some sort of student event going on, and I'm walking through the auditorium where they have the stage. It's actually a gymnasium, but they have a stage where they would have plays. Now, get this: the fucking place is black. All the lights are turned out except 3 stage lights on the stage, spotlights coming down onto the stage. And I walk through this with a friend of mine, a guy named BJ. And as we're walking through, I looked to the left where the stage was, and underneath one of these lights was that book. So I was like really intrigued. So I took it. And when I took it, I took it home. And then the next day I brought it back to school, put it in my locker. And the next, I think it was the next
was
day.
this the locker with all the porn pictures on?
No. That was a different school. That was a different school. All those nudie pictures, that was at John F. Kennedy High School. This we're talking about Patterson Catholic, completely different. Had I done that at Patterson Catholic, not only would I have been thrown out, they would have crucified me. That's a whole other story, Eve. Anyway, so this book, I put it in my locker, and it fucking disappeared. I lost the book. I don't know where it went. I don't know if anybody went into my locker. I don't think that's possible.
Maybe Satan took it back.
It just
he gave it to you and you didn't read it, so he took it back. It's like, screw this guy.
I think Sister Mary Lucifer went in there and took it.
Sister Mary Lucifer. That's a good one. Anyway, I thought I'd pass that on. I always found that to be an amazing circumstance that I could never figure out to this day. So, again, to you, you said you've practiced and you've done a few things. Would you say they were experiments? Because I did a lot of experiments too when I first started studying it. But eventually, if you're doing it often enough, it's no longer practice, it's ritual. So,
I've done some rituals, just for my own benefit. But you're doing them, you just feel different when you're doing them, and then afterward. It's kind of hard to describe. It's kind of like maybe like an at peace feeling. Um, Except I guess if you're hexing someone, but that can make you feel at peace too. But
it's
yeah, it's just
interesting. It's interesting. I'm sorry to cut you off. Hold that thought. The reason I'm interrupting you is because it's very interesting what you just said on how you feel. Today, I was watching did I send you a link the other day about the demonology? Didn't I send that link to you?
payment.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So even I have been keeping in contact recently, like I don't know, just I've been throwing her some like links to interesting things on YouTube about demonology and witchcraft and all that junk. Uh, but today I was watching something about the what did they call it? About conjuring and invoking demons. And how they mentioned several which are they can affect you, allegedly can affect you in such a way. You read about some of these grimoires that say, well, if you do this wrong, you could go mad, or it could cause some sort of health issues or mind issues. Well, today I was I was watching this thing about I think it was the four most terrible demons to invoke. One would be Payman. The other one is Bilal. I think I'm saying that right. Bilal.
Oh,
Who is the other one? Asmos Dios. And crap, I can't remember the other one. One with a name I cannot remember. But yeah, they say that it can be very dangerous. Now, when I stepped into this realm of doing rituals and spells and hexes and curses, I went in head first. As you may or may not remember, Eve, I did send you the link about the video of the grimoire that I wrote by hand. I did a book by hand.
I still think
400.
you should publish that. Yeah.
I don't know, man. It's just that I stole from a lot of other books. I stole from them because I wanted to incorporate the best of the best with the occult. So, but that's a whole other story. We could talk about that later. I dove in headfirst because I just felt like I had nothing to lose. And I don't know about you, but I really kind of I went head first. I pledged to myself, and I mean, having grown up a Roman Catholic, I sort of denounced my religion a long time ago. But in 2010, I completely separated myself from all major religions. And I think I wouldn't say it affected me, although Mr. B would disagree with me. I don't think it affected me in any bad way. You didn't hear about Eve. You didn't hear about the stories I told Mr. B, things falling off my wall and rolling on the ground at night while I was in bed. I could tell you. I could tell you that later. But all I'm saying is that I went in head first, unafraid, with a feeling of nothing to lose. Now, you mentioned about reading about the LaVeyan Satanic Bible. Do you consider yourself a Satanist or a witch or a satanic witch?
A little bit, yeah, because the things that he wrote, he's like, wow, this book makes a lot of sense, when you're reading it. And when I was doing the research, I tried to read as much as I could of different things because I wanted all this. And I had I had a lot of books, and I still buy them. I still, get a lot of occult books, just because I like them.
Yeah, me
And
too.
everything, they all offer something different. So it's something that you can incorporate into your own beliefs, into your own rituals.
What do you think of the Satanic Bible?
I liked it. I think it made a lot of sense to me.
When I read it, I was reading it just like you were. I was doing research of the occult and witchcraft. And I was reading the old grimoires, books on spells, curses, and hexes, voodoo, hoodoo, what else? Enochianism, John Kelly. Is that his name? John Kelly? Who's the guy that works for Queen Elizabeth? I think Queen Elizabeth.
Oh, John Dee.
John Dee.
And Edward Kelly.
Edward Kelly, that's what it was. Actually, John Kelly's a friend of mine. Edward Kelly and John Dee. And they were using Enochian magic. Now, Brian, in case you're unaware of what that is, that's actually angel magic. And invoking. You do know that. Okay.
Yeah,
So
you actually clued me into that a couple episodes ago.
The Book of Enoch, which is, I believe, the grandfather of Moses.
I don't know.
Maybe. I can't remember. No. Methuselah was Moses's grandfather, I believe. But Enoch was, his books were omitted from the Bible. And they are some very fascinating books. In fact, I have to be honest, I never fully read the book that I have. I have two of them.
The Book of Enoch? That's a good one. You can read about like the Watchers and the Nephilim and all that stuff.
The giants.
Yeah. As a matter of fact, I saw some interesting stuff today about the Watchers and how they were the ones who gave mankind the use and understanding of weapons, makeup, to make, to beautify yourself, and other various things, war and so forth, as well as copulating with the sons of man, as they call them, and creating the Nephilim, the giants, excuse me. Just dropped all my crack cocaine on the floor. Sorry. That was a joke. Kidding. Anyway. Okay. All right. So what I was getting at is when I read that book of the Satanic Bible, I didn't read it wanting to become a Satanist. As I said, I was studying witchcraft. But when I read that book, after reading it, I immediately said, I'm a Satanist. There's no two ways about it. Everything in that book that I read related to who I was already at that point in time. Was it the same for you?
It was, especially like when you read it, like when you're younger, it's like, wow, I didn't know there was a name for this, or other people felt this way, or, it's not just me, like, it's kind of empowering. When you read this, it's like, oh, I'm not alone. Other people feel this too. Other people have doubts about, the religion that they're conditioned to believe in. And it's kind of enlightening. You read it, it's like, wow, there's a name for this, and other people are into this. So yeah, it was an eye opener.
I was amazed, after I read it, I was amazed, or even during my reading of it, excuse me, cattail. I was amazed that, as you just said, there were descriptions and definitions and understanding for these things that people might have felt. And there's no sacrificing babies or drinking the blood of goats or sacrificing animals. As a matter of fact, it's completely...
Damn it. What about the sex orgies?
Well, those are real.
Oh, okay. Well, at least we have those.
Those actually do exist, yes. As a matter of fact, great movie. Da Vinci Code, where the little girl Sophia catches her grandfather in a ritual, sex ritual.
Yeah,
Uh,
Hyros Ganos, I think that is.
Yeah. All right. Now, how many have you done?
Not telling.
Damn it! Come
All
on.
right, come on. It's a rated G show. All right. Well, all I'm saying is that having read that book, I was amazed to see that there were some, how would you explain it? Some theoretical ideology of people like, of people like me, as well as yourself, Eve, who had a certain understanding of things that wasn't quite the norm, hence the left-hand path. And I immediately identified as being a Satanist. But again, like, even Mr. B, when Mr. B first heard of me, he heard of me on another podcast, and he heard about me being a Satanist, and he didn't quite understand in a whole what I believed in. And as a matter of fact, I don't know how much he knows about it today, but it's not exactly what people might think. At least my belief. Again, as I just said, we don't kill things, we don't harm children, we don't, just drink blood or sacrifice blood, sacrifice animals, anything
Those
like
are all
that.
jokes, by the way. I do understand it pretty well.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah, I just
Excuse me just a minute.
it's good for the podcast, right?
Of course. Where'd you go? Oh, what?
Oh, sorry about that. The cat came in, the door closed, and she couldn't get out. So she's
Oh.
scratching on the door.
I know
I'm
my
sorry.
dog's been driving me nuts too. Sorry, it's all good.
I do the same thing when I lock myself inside a room and I can't get out.
So she's scratching on the door, and
That's cool.
sorry about that.
That's all right. We all, as you can see, I have cat problems. He has dog problems.
It's a pet friendly show. Totally.
I would have preferred it if she would have jumped on the desk. That would have been fine, but she wanted to get out.
Yeah, okay. All right, no
And
problem.
didn't know how to open the door.
We have our what do you call them? The helper pets.
Can't the
Come
cat
on,
just summon a demon to open the door for him? Come on.
Right? What kind of
This
familiar
Satanist
is
thing
that?
doesn't sound so fun,
What kind of familiar is that?
Not a very magical one, I'm afraid. She can't let herself out.
Anyway, well, all I'm getting at is there. I'm sure you would agree that Satanism is much different than witchcraft.
Not too much. I mean, I think there are a lot of similarities. Yeah, I would think so.
Oh, wow. I'm shocked.
I mean, not witchcraft, not Wicca, but there's.
Oh, yeah. We're not talking about Wicca
No.
ever.
I think there's a lot of similarities too, which is believed too. Like if someone harms you, you're gonna hex them, you're gonna go after them. And that's Satanism too. Because Anton LaVey believed if someone, slaps your cheek, you punch him in the face. That's
right.
just, you right that wrong.
That's right. Yeah, there is no turning the other cheek
Right.
in Satanism.
The opposite of what Jesus says.
Exactly. As a matter of fact, Satanism is known as the selfish religion because it's all about you and bettering yourself and succeeding. In fact, a lot of the demons that are mentioned in demonology, based on the Ars Goetia, which is a book that wasn't that edited by Mathers, Eve?
I think so. Yeah, McGregor Mathers.
McGregor Mathers, right? He was part of the OTO, I believe, as well, right?
Yeah. I think he was there before Crowley.
Crowley, that's right.
Yeah.
Crowley, basically kicked him out, didn't he?
Crowley came in and took over.
Wasn't what's his name? McMathers? Mathers?
Gregor
Gregor McMathers.
Now you're making me forget.
Well, anyway, that guy, wasn't he also involved in Golden Dawn, or did Aleister Crowley create Golden Dawn by himself? No, that's right.
No,
Aleister came into Golden Dawn and rearranged for himself.
yeah, right. Well, and then did he form the OTO? I think Aleister Crowley formed the OTO.
That's
And
right.
McGregor Mathers was in Golden Dawn. Yeah. McGregor Mathers was in Golden Dawn. Aleister Crowley joined Golden Dawn, and I think Aleister Crowley did the OTO.
You may be right. I'm not
I think
very
so.
I'm not very educated on Crowley or McGregor Mathers, but I do know a little bit about them because they did edit some of the books, which I was just about to talk about. So the Goetia, many of the demons that are in the Goetia are, for lack of a better term, they're not actual. Well, it depends on who you are. But based on what I've been reading and also some of the YouTube clips I've been watching from other people who talk about demonology and witchcraft and Satanism, is that the demons are, not only are they allegedly the angels who were cast down from heaven from God, but they are symbols. For example, Lucifer and Satan basically tell humanity that if you, which is why they call him
Light Bear.
light bearer. Thank you. I was going to say Venus, but they call him that because he takes away the darkness on knowledge. That's why for so long people believed that science was satanic, because it was creating all these things. Like the Amish out here in Pennsylvania, the Amish still won't use like electricity or certain things that are modern technology because they believe that science, for the most part, is a key to the devil or to the underworld, if you will.
Mhm.
But I don't believe that. I believe in science 100%. In fact, if I had to say anything, I believe science is my God. Science proves everything. But what I'm trying to really explain here, I keep getting sidetracked. The demons of the Goetia are not demons per se. Again, depends on who you are and what you believe. But they are what they teach. In other words, if you conjure a demon from a ritual, and let's say, make it easy. Let's say Pyman. So now, for those of you who may or may not know, a movie called Hereditary came out several years ago. Great fucking movie. I absolutely love it. Wonderful movie about Satanism and how this family, particularly a mother and her family, ends up getting pulled in, and it's all because of her mother. So Haman is a demon that gives people power and wealth. So all these other demons that you could conjure, let's say you wanted to, somebody did you wrong and you want them dead. So you conjure a demon that would eradicate your enemies. Let's say you want to become well respected. Let's say you want to become the envy of all men and women. You want to become rich beyond belief. You want to become whatever. All these dreams that you may have, these desires, you call upon a certain demon, and they are supposed to provide that for you. However, what I've been learning is that the demons are not so much an entity as they are something that you yourself can better yourself at. So in other words, if I just say, all right, I want to be rich and powerful, the way to become rich and powerful, just like yoga, just like prayer, just like a ritual, just like a ceremony, you set your mind and focus on a goal to become rich and powerful. You yourself do the deed. There is no devil, there is no hell, there are no demons. It is basically just you empowering yourself. Lucifer himself said that you can forget how it was worded. I'm paraphrasing here, but basically, you become your own God.
Mm.
Now, in the eyes of the church, that's blasphemy.
They would call it the perfectly possessed.
Yeah, because they want blind faith.
Yeah. Father Malachi
Power.
Martin used to talk about that on Art Bell's show. Very
And
interesting.
what do you
interviews.
think about that? What do you think about that?
Me?
Yeah.
To be honest with you, it scares me a little bit. I mean, because of my beliefs.
Okay. All right. Having said that, let me be a little more specific with your question.
Well, can I finish what I was saying?
No. Go ahead. Go.
The way, I mean, I love the way you said it. But if you look at it the way he looked at it, it's exactly what you're saying. He just looks at it in a different way. It's the complete absence of God,
Right.
and living a godly way, and for me, I just have a different view on things. I'm a Christian. I'm not afraid
Totally.
to talk about these things or whatever. But I thought it was important to say that because that's something he talked about all the time, and it really scared Art. And when I think of someone that's perfectly possessed, I'd think of Gavin Newsom. I'm serious. I would.
That was a great line. That was a great line. I have to.
I don't think you're perfectly possessed. I don't think she's perfectly possessed, but I definitely think Gavin Newsom is.
Well, he's a politician. That goes without saying.
From a long line of politicians and really rich people that care nothing about anything but money, So.
Well, all I'm getting at is based on what I saw today. It was quite interesting because when you for years I had a struggle with this because having been born and raised Roman Catholic, renouncing my religion at age, what the hell was I? I think I was like 40. And when I say renounce, I basically just said, all right, well, I don't want anything to do with this anymore. And I began to study occult. Now, mind you, I've read the Bible. I've read the Quran. I never read the Torah, but I should probably do that someday. And all I'm saying is that I've been so interested by religions, the good side and the dark side. I'm fascinated by it. Like Eve. Eve is fascinated by this stuff.
I am too, very much.
But you're more terrified, I think. Are you not?
No, I'm not terrified. I believe what I believe. I'm not terrified of it all. And like, I like to listen to people's ideas, and views. I'm intrigued by it. I want to know what you think, and I think a lot of Christians don't do that. They're terrified of it. They're just indoctrinated into that belief, and that's how they just hold on to that. I'm different. I want to know what you think and why you think that way, and I that the idea of good and bad, well, that's a Christian thing too. And I think one thing that Christianity really does is they focus more on God and Jesus, but they forget about the other part. They forget about spirituality. They never talk about it ever. And I mean, that's the three core things right there. That's God, the Father, the Son, and the Holy Ghost. But I'll let you go. I'm done.
And I appreciate what you're saying. I think in your line of work with being a ghost hunter, you have to be open-minded. Right?
Absolutely, you do.
So what I'm getting at is, having been born and raised Roman Catholic, I then had a struggle with, and Eve, please tell me if you had to do the same. I had a struggle with the concept of whether or not, all right, so you say, all right, So there's a dark side, allegedly dark. That's how we describe it. But there's this left-hand path, almost like politics. You have the left-hand path where you're studying about being your own God and being the person who makes your own destiny. And then you have to say to yourself, well, if there's a dark side, then there must be a good side. So I ask you, Eve, do you believe that if there is a God, that there is a devil, or vice versa, that if there's a devil, there is a God? What do you think?
I think there is some sort of higher power. I mean, there is a light, there is a dark. You need both of them for balance, and that's the way nature is. But basically, it's, divinity lies within. It's in you. Part of that divine spark, or whatever you want to call it, that's in you. How you choose to use it is also up to you. But since we're all part of nature, we all follow that.
Well put.
Yep. Pretty much in everything you look at, there's good and bad. It's just the way the world turns, at least that's the way I see it.
Yeah, me too. And I again, what I'm trying to get at is I had to really decide or understand that if I was going to follow and or study and believe in this stuff that is occult related and or satanic or witchcraft, then am I going to say, well, I don't believe that there's a God? No, that can't be right. So I began to look deeper and I read the Satanic Bible. I've read it like 4 times, and I began to read between the lines. In addition, now, Eve, I don't know if you're aware of this, but there are other books, biographies written about Anton LaVey and the belief system of the Satanic Bible and Satan, let's be clear, modern Satanism, starting from 1966, which, by the way, is the year I was born. So what I'm saying is that if you read the Satanic Bible and you read some of the biographies that were written about Anton LaVey, people who wrote books about him, who interviewed his family members, who was there to witness the spells and rituals that they conducted, you will begin to see a pattern. And that pattern is from LaVey, it is that there is nothing. Atheism is basically what it is. And that Satanism, which is a branch off of Christianity, let's face it, if the church didn't have Satan, they'd probably be out of business. Because people are afraid of doing bad things which are induced by the devil and or his minions, and then create what's the term? The devil makes bad hands.
Idle hands.
Idle hands are the devil's plaything.
Yeah.
Or something. And that's what people think. They think, well, if if I lay around and I'm creating, sloth is what I'm trying to say. I'm guilty of sloth. If I try to make too much money, I'm guilty of greed. And they try to avoid these things, which they believe. Not all people believe it, but some people think that it is something induced by the dark side, whether it's Satan or his minions, the devil, the demons, whatever. And they find weak people, possess them per se. Now, I'm not talking Linda Blair possession in The Exorcist. I'm talking they have an influence. But ultimately, I don't believe that. I believe every person is responsible for their own actions, which the Satanic Bible states in itself. You, as a Satanist, must be responsible for your own actions, period.
Exactly.
But you have people that say, well, that poor boy had his leg chopped off.
The devil made me do it.
That poor boy had his leg chopped off because the devil got involved, or that lady got cancer because of the devil. But, and then it's controversial because then you say, well, you'll talk to somebody who's like a priest or something, and they'll say, well, God has a plan for everything. So even the bad things that happen, God is responsible for it. So you're going to tell me, all right, so I had Myke Hideous, I had cancer 8 times because God wanted me to have cancer 8 times.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense.
Well,
No,
yeah, that's my point. If you there's always going to be controversy between anybody who reads any of the Bibles, the Quran, the Holy Bible, the Torah, any other holy book, and then read other books about the opposite side, the adversaries to the holy religions. So there's always going to be controversy. So, when I really step back, as much as I love reading about the occult and all that stuff, when I step back, I believe that there's something a little bit darker that we don't quite understand. If you go back and you look, mankind created gods, the god of the sun, the god of the moon, the lightning god, the god of wind, the god of good crops, the god of good farm animals. They created gods because they had no explanation for disease, weather, whatever. And sadly, as time went by, I'm talking thousands, tens of thousands of years, from tribes to organized religion to organized society and civilization. And you'll notice that things lessen as we get to where we are today in 2025. Thousands and thousands of years later, from creating, from worshiping the sun god to basically worshiping the almighty dollar. Did I just blow your minds?
But I think it's true. People, with the advances in science, it's like, okay, we know where thunder and lightning comes from. It's not from Zeus. He's not hurling a thunderbolt. It's, it's all science. So there's no need for, hundreds of gods, because now we understand these things. We understand disease and weather and, growing crops and breeding animals and things like that. So the gods, they fell out of favor because mankind doesn't need them anymore.
That's right. As a matter of fact.
But there are still things that we don't understand.
Well, that's without a given. We know that. But what I was going to say is many of the pagan gods prior to the Roman Empire, or I should say up until the end of the Roman Empire, these pagan gods, which existed throughout every culture, ethnicity in the world at that time, including the Americas before they were discovered. The Indians, the Incas, the Mayans, they all had their gods. But specifically speaking, in the Middle Eastern area and Europe, when the Roman Empire fell and the Holy Roman Empire ascended, they took all those pagan gods and changed them into demons.
One culture's gods or another culture's demons.
My point exactly. So, like, how do you really know? We really don't know anything. We really don't.
I agree with you there. Definitely.
As I just said, we
said,
back.
on my end, I don't buy into everything, man. I don't. I got so many questions that nobody can answer because they're stuck in their mantra of what they believe, and what they profess. They take one part of the Bible and they just hold on to that, or a few lines here and there, whatever. Nobody does. Like I said, I believe in the Trinity, but I am more of a Johnny Cash Christian, man. I don't I don't follow any doctrine or anything like that. I have my personal relationship with God, and that's it. So and that's how I roll.
So Eve, the question now stands: as a woman, you are a woman, right?
As far as I know.
Good. You're
That
not a they
wasn't
When
them.
they
very
checked me
nice.
at birth, that's what they told me, yeah.
Mr. B, let me be specific when I say this to her. You're not a they them, right?
Oh, no, 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 no.
Thank you. All right. Any of you woke people that are watching it, get the hell off this show.
Well, Mike, I have a vagina. I mean,
Oh, you do? Can I say?
A vaginas.
A vaginus. A virginer. By the way,
golf
Mr.
clap
B.
on that one, dude. Golf clap on that one.
By the way, Mr. B, the classification of a Johnny Cash Christian, I like that. That was very, very witty of you. You get a golf club.
I try, man. I try, dude.
Okay, so Eve, the question is, as a woman who believes in the left-hand path, studies witchcraft, and is not associated with Christianity, do you believe there is a God? And I know you said a higher power, an entity or something, but be specific.
I think there is something out there. I don't really know what it is, so I can't really be too specific because I don't really know. I mean, you can call it whatever you want. You can call it God. You can call it Hecate. You can call it Zeus. You can call it Satan or whatever you want to. But I think there is something out there, something that that we'll probably never understand.
Agreed. Yeah, I think as the millennia, tens of millennia have gone past humanity, we've gone from sharpening sticks and using stones as weapons to an
Being
era.
pirates. Being pirates.
Pirates, right? Okay, pirates.
My family. It's pretty cool.
To this world that we've now reached. And I'm going to stick specifically with America, but we are in an age in which we are led to believe that even with Christianity, that nothing always can ever always possibly go your way. And by that, I mean, we're led to believe certain things, as I did when I was a boy, going to church, getting my penance, my confirmation, my communion. And here I am, almost 60, and I still don't quite get it. I mean, I've learned a lot over the years because I like to read, as I'm sure you do. And but again, those are just things from other people. It basically comes down to you having your own concept of whatever it may be about life. But we may probably never know. And I'm sure you would agree with me on that, yes?
Oh yeah, yeah. There are things that we'll never know.
Are you a fan of the what the hell is it? The James Webb Telescope?
I don't know what that is.
It's like the Hubble telescope. If you heard of that,
Yeah.
yeah, on steroids.
I sincerely suggest you look up some of the images that James Webb.
It's insane.
All right. So you've seen pictures of the Hubble, shots at the Hubble. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
The James Webb Telescope is about 50 times bigger than the Hubble. It's taking pictures of galaxies so far away that the light from behind those galaxies is actually the Einstein effect of warping around black holes and stars. It's phenomenal. And that's not even the best of it. It's reached a point that it seems so far back in time that we can't see anything beyond it because of two things. Either the light from beyond those stars, which are like, I don't know, 14 billion light years away. Either that light is not reaching us, or there's just nothing else out there. And I hate to break your mind when I tell you this, but it always breaks my mind. So I'm sure you can break your mind with me when I tell you this. Space, the universe, is so unfathomably, did I say that right? Unfathomably. It's so big. You just can't wrap your mind around it. And somewhere out there, somewhere out in this universe, which is beyond comprehension, the sheer size is just beyond comprehension. There must be answers to who we are, how we got here, and what our purpose is.
We're just two lost souls swimming in a fishbowl.
Fishbowl, year after year. Wanna know the same old stuff, blah blah.
What if what is at the end of what the telescope sees is all dark matter? And that's what sent this thing that's hurling towards our planet right now. That's going to be here in 116 days.
What?
There's
a meteor?
There's something. They said it's not a meteor. It's not. They don't know what it is. But it's supposed to hit our planet in 116 days.
That's a meteor.
Nope. I said there's no gas. It's not a comet.
I have
it's
gas.
Not a meteor. I'm just saying. You
know, you have to send me that link because I was just watching something the other day about a couple of meteors that are supposed to hit us. In fact, the big one is Apophis, that is on April 13th in 2029. It is a city destroyer, and there is a possibility, not a big possibility, but a small possibility that it could potentially hit Earth. And
Myke, we have a female on the show, and we're going real testosterone laden here, bro. I mean, big time.
Are you interested in space, Eve? Are you interested in space?
A little bit, but not astrophysics. That's just beyond me.
I totally get it. I'm a big fan of things to do with space, universe, and all that crazy shit out there. It blows my mind.
I just like to see when the meteors hit the planet and then the big explosions.
As a matter of fact, tonight is a meteor shower. Tonight, really? Yes. And I know out here it's clear. So after this is done, I'm going to be going outside to look for some. Between 11 o'clock and 3 a.m., you will be able to see meteors about, I think they said about 20 or 30 per hour.
So that's like midnight my time, right?
Well, you'd have to be it's just a time difference, that's all.
Yeah.
So when it's dark like here,
4:30 for me, bro.
But the thing is, you got to understand what's happening is the planet is going through a trail of debris that another comet left in its trail. Oh, wow. So we're passing through it. So as we pass through it, my side will see a certain point or a certain amount of meteorites or meteors. And then by the time
completely different.
You will, but we're still going to be passing through that debris. Yeah. So by the time nighttime hits you, you will still be able to see something depending on whether or not you're up at night.
Oh, wow.
Anywho, we are completely off the topics now. All right, so let's start wrapping this up. All right, so first of all, Eve, thank you for all the topics on witchcraft and Satanism and magic. Really interesting subjects. I love that stuff, and you should definitely come back on when we do another.
Let's conjure some spells.
Exactly.
Crazy.
Love to.
I'd like to have you on again when we're not talking about you specifically, but I'd like to end off the show with another couple of questions pertaining to your time in Empire Hideous as the bass player. So one of my first questions to you is this. When you were in the band, do you have or remember a most memorable moment in time that you would like to tell the listeners or watchers of this program?
Probably the night we played the Limelight when you got shot in the head, because people were not expecting that. And I heard, someone told me this, that someone actually freaked out in the audience because they thought it was real. Myke had a hood over his head with a blood pack in it, and someone came out and aimed the gun execution style and shot, and the blood pack exploded, and Myke went down and was carried off the stage. And that was right after we did a cover of My Way.
Right.
That happened. That was a great show.
By Frank
That was the night I
Sinatra.
found $20 too. I think Dave Kendall dropped it.
You did My Way by Frank Sinatra.
Yes,
It's
actually,
the vicious version.
it's actually written by Paul Anka,
Oh, okay.
popularized by Frank Sinatra, and then punked out by Sid Vicious.
Wow, that's
Yep.
cool. And then you got shot in the head. Were
Yes.
you like on stage? You just got done singing. Someone just walked. Oh, you suck. Something like that. Please,
What else
please
going?
elaborate on this a little bit.
All right, so at a certain point in time, I started doing a lot of performance art on stage. One of the particular acts that we did was an execution of yours truly. And I had these two other people that came on stage. One tied my hands behind my back. The other one put a hood over my head. Now, mind you, this hood was prepped. It had what they call a
Fake
squib.
blood.
It had what's called a squib. It's basically like a condom that is filled with fake blood. And it was set off by a little explosives. Not, I say explosive. It was less than a little firecracker. So it had to be fixed up. There was a steel plate that protected my head with the squib with the blood in it, so that it exploded. It didn't hurt my head. Anyway, long story short, these two guys come out, they set me up, put over my head. Guy comes up, but I had a starter pistol, and he pulls the trigger. In fact, he told me after the show, he's like, I pulled the trigger and nothing happened. I had to pull the trigger again. So he pulls the trigger again, bang. The guy, so when the guy who put my hood on, he sneaked, like what my hands behind my back, he sneaks a trigger into my hand with a wire. Okay. And then when I hear the bang of the gun, I hit the trigger, and the blood packet explodes. So bang, that happens. I hit the floor, and then they carried me off. Now, Eve, you're saying that was a that was a memorable moment for you?
Yeah, definitely. That was such a great show. I remember somebody saying too, oh, you better let security know what you're doing, because we can never ever do that today.
Never. Never. What about, here's one for you. The bank opening up for Dasik.
Oh, when was it Brian who had the latex and sprayed it on the lead singer's feet, and he freaked out, and he went to the backstage area of the bank, which I think was downstairs in the catacombs, right? And he just got freaked. He was slamming things. I remember he threw a mirror, a beer bottle, which I think the beer bottle almost hit me.
Well, that was what I was going to say. From
Yeah.
your story back in the day. So Eve tells me, all right, so we're upstairs. Okay. The Empire Hideous had already played. Eve was downstairs in the dressing room. I was upstairs watching the band, and I watched this whole thing take place. This guy had this can of liquid latex, which is completely safe. A lot of times, like, women will paint them, they'll paint their bodies with it, and they walk around with it as clothes. So what this guy was doing, he was taking a paintbrush, and he was painting people's bodies. And it just peels right off when you don't want it. So the lead singer, whose name was Stefan, from a band called Das Ich from Germany. And I think it was it was the second time we had ever played with them, did a show with them. So they're on stage. I'm standing back by the Empire Hideous merch table. Eve is downstairs with, I think Jeff was down there with you, maybe even Mars. I think I was the only one upstairs watching the band. And the one guy starts taking that latex and he's painting Stefan's foot. Stefan freaks the fuck out, jumps off the stage, takes the can of latex and pours it over this guy's head. Okay. And then gets back up on stage. Stefan gets back up on stage, finishes the song, gets off stage. Boom. That was the end of the show. They played 4 songs. That was the end of the show. He goes down into the dressing room where Eve is. And I think the first thing he did, if I remember correctly what you told me, because I even wrote this down in my book, he takes a beer bottle and he whips it against the wall and it basically misses Eve by a couple of feet. Then he took like a 6 or 7 foot mirror, picks it up, boom, he breaks it. He was freaking out, breaking shit. And all he had to do was just wipe it off his foot. He thought it was tar. And he's crying.
He was downstairs. He was going off in German. Nobody knew what he was saying, and nobody knew what happened because.
Kann ich mal deinen Mofa haben? Du bist eine Trottel. Sorry.
The only thing in English he said was my feet, and everything else was in German, and nobody knew what happened. It's like, why is this guy freaking out about his feet? What the hell happened?
He was literally crying. By the time I got down, he was crying.
Wow.
And I'm like, dude, get a grip, bro. Get a grip. He thought it was tar. He's like, when I come to America, I want to play my show. I want to sing and play band. And they put this fucking shit on my feet. And my feet, my fucking shit. These fucking Americans, fuck you. And then it started coming off. And mind you, the audience was pissed. They were going to beat Brian up.
Oh, crap.
The guy with, not you, Brian, the guy with the latex. They were going to beat him up. He got thrown out of the club. There was like 20 guys around him that were ready to kick his ass because the show ended. They paid like $20 or whatever to get in to see this band.
For 4 songs?
For 4 songs, and that was it. Needless to say, the guy who did the whole latex thing he made a lot of enemies that day. And coincidentally, he's the same guy who helped me with the execution at the Limelight, getting shot in the head.
I think he's also the guy that whipped you.
He's one of the guys that whipped me, yes, on a multiple of occasions. What else did he do? I can't remember, but do you remember the showcase we did for Peter Steele of Typo Negative and Roadrunner Records?
Yeah, that was at the bank.
That was at the bank.
Mm-hmm.
We had only played there like 2 weeks earlier after Peter said to us, would you like to go on tour with us? Meaning Typo Negative, Empire Hideous.
Mm.
And he said, all right, well, listen, we got to get you on a record label. He said, I would like you to showcase your band for a guy named Monty Connor of Roadrunner Records. Monty Connor is the guy who signed Slipknot to Roadrunner Records and was also the head, what would you call him? Head A&R?
A&R, yeah.
So I booked this show so that we can play for an executive of Roadrunner. And mind you, now I'm pulling out everything we could possibly do in one show. And that included the Crown of Thorns, getting whipped, sticking actually pulling the needles out of my head. Yeah, it was quite a night. I think what happened, and it's obvious, even Monty Connor he didn't stick around for the show. He left like midway. So after the show, Peter Steele comes down into the dressing room and he says, I asked him, I was like, so what did Monty think? He's like, I got bad news. Monty left. Actually, he said, oh, I got bad news. Monty left. That was a Peter Steele interpretation, but it was bad. Anywho, so yeah,
I liked it, bro.
you like that. Thanks a lot, Mr. B. So
Are you done with that story?
I just wanted to finish by saying,
Okay.
Eve, do you remember? Remember when we opened up the set for that night? And the first thing that happened is Mars's guitar was out of tune. And I believe he broke a string or something to that effect. And then when he broke a string, Jeff broke a string too. You remember that?
Yeah.
First song we did, Power of the Empire. And we used to come out to that song with a lot of feedback. And in this particular show, the feedback started, the curtains were pulled back, and there I am standing. I've got 8 hypodermic needles in my forehead, like poked through my forehead. And I'm wearing a crown of thorns, and I start pulling out the needles. And there was a guy standing next to me, this guy Joe Pla. He's got a tray, and I put him on the tray, and then he walks off. So all the feedback was taking place there. That's a different show, but yes, it looked like that. So I'm pulling out these needles from my head, and all the time, the whole time, there's like feedback from all the instruments and everything. And then when we start the song, after I pull out all the needles, we start the song, and as I just said, Mars was out of tune. And then when he went to switch to a guitar, Jeff went out of tune or broke a string. It was complete mayhem. And from that moment, I'm like, that's it. We just lost the opportunity to get a record deal from Roadrunner Records and go on tour with Typo Negative. Remember that?
Yeah.
Okay. I just wanted to remind you. Mr. B, go ahead.
Okay. I remember the last show, and my absolute favorite part involved a cat and your wife at the time. Could you please tell that story?
God. Okay, Eve. You remember Spooky the Dead Mummified Cat?
I do. And I also remember Carrie freaking out about Spooky, the dead mummified cat.
Now, I can't remember if you and I discussed this on the show that evaporated.
Yeah, we did.
Okay, so I guess we will repeat it for those of you who never saw it, which is all of you. So here's what happened. In the day when Eve was brand new in the band, Eve, Mars, and Ed. That was the lineup. And then, of course, yours truly, vocals and some guitar. I used to work in this place in Montclair, New Jersey, called Two Tone, a punk rock boutique. And one day on my lunch breaks, I used to go out and I used to take a walk throughout the town. It was a very quaint town with little mom and pop shops everywhere. And I used to love just taking a walk on my break. And around the corner, there was a junkyard of some sort. And I was walking by it one day, and as I'm walking by, I saw this old truck that was being stored there, wasn't used, it was just stored there. And underneath the truck, of all the things I had ever seen, was this mummified cat. So you say, all right, well, Mike, what do you mean mummified cat? I mean, that cat died a long time ago. All the fur had fallen off of it. All the skin was hardened and stretched tightly around the bones of this cat that was just kind of curled up in a sleeping position. It's like it just lied there and died. And it was there for a long time. No bugs ate it, nothing. So I see this cat and I'm like, I gotta have that. So that one of the nights that the band rehearsed, I told Mars and Ed, I'm like, guys, I need your help to get this mummified cat. So we go down to where it was. They had to pull the fence up so that I could slide underneath and get this dead animal. So I get it. I put it in a plastic bag. I take it home. Now, my wife at the time, she used to work a corporate job, 9 to 5. So she was gone all day from 8:30 to 5:30. And on
That's
one
when
of
all the
those,
shenanigans happened,
that's when the
right?
shenanigans happened. One of those nights, sorry, one of those days, I decided, all right, well, what I need to do in order to preserve this mummified cat is I need to shellac it. And I literally bought shellac in a can with a paintbrush. And there used to be in our apartment, we used to have this full-size door which had a closet with shelves where we kept like food and things like our bicycles and stuff. It was a big walk-in closet, but it also had the slant of the roof, sort of like this wall right behind me. The roof slants, so it's on a slant. Anyway, so behind the shelves was this little area, probably about 3 by 3, and it went all the way to the other side of the house. There was nothing there. It was pitch black, and there was nothing stored there. It was just nothing. It was just an open area that we did not use. So I crawled all the way back there with this dead cat. I had a box, like I should say a box top, and some newspapers in it, and the cat with the can of shellac and a paintbrush. So I go all the way in the back. I hang the cat, dead cat, on this hook on one of the rafters, okay? And what I do is I paint it, I shellac it. I take the brush and I shellac the whole thing. And it remains hanging on that nail, and the extra shellac is dripping into the box top, okay? Now, I finished it up, I let it dry. Months go by. Months go by. I forgot about it. Okay. One day, it's a Sunday afternoon. My wife and I are getting ready to go to visit my parents. So whatever it was, I'm in the living room, and at the time, my living room, I had my art table. So I'm sitting at my art table doing something. She's about to go into the closet, the spooky closet. She opens the door, and we had a cat named Buka, a living cat, who wasn't shellacked or mummified. And the living cat, Buka, ran into the closet. And when it ran into the closet, it went down that dark, spooky area. So now my wife is like, come on, Buka, come on, get out of there, come on. And we used to keep a flashlight right in there so that if the cat went back, you could go in and scoot him out. Well, I'm sitting at my drawing table. Again, completely forgot about this thing. And my wife at the time, she's on her hands and knees, got the flashlight. She's on her hands and knees, crawling deeper and deeper into the darkness, into the abyss. And she crawls and crawls, and the flashlight is in her hand, but it's not pointing upwards where the cat was hanging. So she gets close and close until she's literally this close. Okay, so she's like this close. She gets that close, and she takes the flashlight and brings it up, and there's the dead cat. Well, let me tell you, she screamed. She screamed and screamed, and I'm like, oh, crap. Boy, am I in trouble. She comes as fast as she can, come crawling out of that space. She comes out of there. She's freaking out. She's crying. I mean, crying. oh my God, somebody had a ritual back there. There's a dead cat. They sacrificed this cat. It's got all blood, and oh my God, I can't believe this. And she's going on and on and on and on. Meanwhile, I'm just sitting back in my chair, and I say, in a very calm, monotone voice, I say, how much did you see? Well, she's like, what do you mean? What do you mean? How much? What, somebody did something awful. I'm like, yes, I know. How much did you see? She's like, she's going nuts. Okay. She thinks I'm sacrificing animals in there. Okay. I calmed her down. I said, listen, and I tell her the whole story about what happened. And I said to her, now you got to keep in mind, I already had skulls and bones and I don't know, all creepy stuff, all kinds of like on my shelves. I've had it since I was about 11 years old. Okay. That's stuff I collected. And I tried to explain to her, listen, that dead cat in there, which has been dead for God knows how long, is no different than the deer skull sitting on that shelf, or the raccoon skull next to it, or the femur bone from a deer. No, it's not different. The only thing that's different is it has the flesh on it, which is completely dried out, dehydrated. There's no moisture in it. And the thing is completely dried out. There's nothing about it that could be any more gross than a skull.
But it's furry.
There was no fur on it.
Oh, there's no fur?
No fur on it.
Oh, okay.
No.
Okay.
The thing is, as time had gone by, the fur had come off it, whether it was taken off by insects or just fell off. But the only thing that cat has on it, and I still have it to this day, has the skin dried, and it's squeezed tightly around the body, and it makes it look creepy. I'm not going to deny that, but it's mummified. It's completely dried out. Anyway, going on and on and on here. The point is, she's pissed at me. She is freaking out. This went on for like an hour. This whole thing with her freaking out. And at the end of the conversation, I said to her, listen, in time down the road, you're going to look back at this and you're going to laugh. Well, let me tell you, she wasn't laughing at that point. She was pissed. She didn't talk to me for like a good hour after that. We get in the car and we're driving to my mother's house, my parents' house, to go visit them. And as we're driving, I look at her and I'm like, I said to her, how about that mummified cat, huh? And finally I got her to laugh. So yes. So since you brought that topic up and made me tell the whole story, Eve, do you remember the show we did? And I did a bunch of shows with Spooky the Cat, but do you remember specifically the one I did at the bank where I came out in the wheelchair?
Yeah, I remember that.
Okay.
Some abandoned wheelchair that we found.
You want to tell him, Mr. B, the story about the abandoned wheelchair and how we got it?
Well, I don't remember how we got it, honestly.
All right. All right. Like basically, when the whole band moved into this big, beautiful house in Kearney, New Jersey, the family that lived there prior to us had an elderly mother. The guy was a doctor. His mother was very old, and she died. And they had a wheelchair for her that used to be in the garage. So when Jeff, our guitar player, moved in, we gave him the old lady's room.
Now I remember. Yeah.
So we used to bust him all the time, especially Eve. She used to like busting his chops about, I don't know, what did you used to say to him?
Did you see the old lady? She's wheeling by. She's coming in to see you, Jeff.
I'd be in there doing EVP, man.
he used to get so pissed off at her for saying that. Anyway, so one day we find in the garage, the landlords had so when they moved out of the house, they kept the house. We rented it from them. So they had a garage where they kept some of their belongings in. So one day we decided to go through their belongings in the garage. And we found this wheelchair. It was all dilapidated and beat up.
Did it squeak?
It didn't squeak, didn't have
Oh,
to. We didn't use it really. We only used it for one show. And I wish we could have used it for more, but anyway. So we did a gig at the bank where I came out with the top hat on and the clear face mask. Whenever I sang the song Mr. Barnum, which was one of our more popular songs, whenever we sang that, I used to dress up like the cover of that particular EP. And it was basically Lon Chaney from the movie London After Midnight. And I used to put a top hat on, and I used to put this clear face mask on. And I always wore tux jacket, but I was wheeled out in this wheelchair, and I'm holding the dead cat, and I'm petting the dead cat. And the guy who wheeled me out, he gives me the microphone. Guys, his kid's name was Anthony or Tony. He gives me the microphone, and I start singing from the wheelchair until eventually I get up. And when I get up, I wasn't wearing a tux. I was wearing a priest's cassock, those long black coats with all the buttons.
Yeah.
So I'm wearing one of them. I got the top hat and everything. People used to love that. But Spooky the Dead Cat, just so that you know, Eve, Spooky the Dead Cat is now an art piece in a frame on my wall downstairs in my what I call the hideous room.
Well, give Spooky a pat on the head for me.
I will. In fact, what I'll do is one day I will take a picture of it and I'll send it to you in a text message so you can see how he's spending the rest of his dead years. Anyway, on that note, we're going to wrap it up. Eve, I would like to thank you for gracing us with your presence on the Hideous Diversion podcast. Thank you very much for coming out a second time.
Thank you for having me. It was a lot of fun.
Absolutely. And I would like to have you come back when we do a topic on witchcraft and magic and all that occult stuff. Okay.
Yeah, that'd be great.
I think you would be advantageous to the topic, and I'm sure you could probably teach me a couple things as well. On that note, Eve, please go ahead and book a book. Please promote. Thank you. Please go ahead and promote whatever items or webcasts or social webcasts. I'm losing my mind. Websites or social media or anything you would like to promote. Go right ahead.
Well, if you want the books, you can go to evelestrange.com. The site will take you to Amazon. You can get a printed book or an ebook. If you want a signed copy, you can go to Wolf's Lair Collectibles. It's an eBay store. So you just go on eBay, you type in Wolf's Lair Collectibles, and you can get a signed copy. Or I don't know when this is going to air, but this weekend I'll be at Monster Mania in Cherry Hill. You can also get a signed copy of the books there. And I'm also on Facebook, Instagram, and that's it.
All right. Well, this airs, damn it. I'm trying to get to my phone, and of course, as usual, it's got to be shitty. So oh my God, this airs on the 18th, which will be right after your weekend at, what is it, HorrorCon?
Yeah, Monster Mania.
Monster Mania. So apologies to you on that, but if you have anything else coming up that you want to mention, go ahead and do it.
Not right now. We don't have anything coming up.
All right, folks, you heard it. If you are into occult and witches and things of that nature, demons, check out Eve's books, all of which we spoke about beginning of the show. And if you'd like to read them, we will be, obviously we have the website and all her information posted where you can see it. On that note, thank you very much, Eve. I want to say thanks again. I really appreciate it. And Mr. B, did you have anything to say to Eve?
Hey, it's been a pleasure having you on the show, and please come back.
Well, thank you, Mr. B. I'm glad I was invited on the show. You did a great job.
Thanks, Eve. We greatly appreciate your presence. And on that note, folks, gonna end off the show. Couple of announcements real quick, just so that you know, as you may not have heard, I don't know, but I'm gonna be, all physical Empire Hideous merchandise is not going to be available by January 2026. So if you're interested in getting anything like CDs or t-shirts, go to the website mykehideous.com to get any of the remaining copies, because after that, after 2026, they will no longer be available online. You might be able to get it on Spotify and iTunes and Apple Music and all that crap. Little by little, the entire Empire Hideous discography will be eventually available as MP3 downloads. But until then, if you are a collector and you want to get a CD or a shirt, now's the time to get it, because come January 2026, you will not have that opportunity anymore. So that's mykehideous.com. Check it out, or be square. Also, you can get me on Facebook.com/hideous Myke, or no, yeah, Hideous Myke. And of course, Instagram, which is hashtag Myke Hideous Official. Then of course, Mr. B, you want to make a couple of announcements too. We have all this at the end of the show, but if you want to announce it, go ahead and announce Paramigos.
Yeah. Hey, if you like ghost hunting, check out YouTube. Paramigos is the name of the page. It's with 2 G's, Paramiggos. Thank you. And I hope you enjoyed this hideous diversion.
Yes, and as a matter of fact, there is also Hideous Diversion Instagram, which is hashtag Hideous Diversion. And of course, the email, if you want to write to us, which is Hideous Myke, of all things, at gmail.com. All right. And again, if you didn't catch any of this crap, you'll see it at the end in the credits at the end of the show. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for your kind attendance to this show. Hey, by the way, hold on a second. Who's coming on?
Next week will be Christopher Gabriel.
That's right. Christopher, now please, Mr. B, give everybody a little taste of who that is.
Christopher Gabriel was a stage actor, and he spent time on Broadway. He also did Shakespeare in England. He's also been in radio for about 30 years, and he's going to be a little bit different kind of guest than we normally have, but I think he has some amazing stories about the paranormal. His life has been really interesting, and he'll be interesting to hear about. I think you'll love his stories. I really do.
Okay, folks, there you have it. So if you're into ghost hunting and the paranormal, then please check out our show. Well, actually, it won't be out until the following week after that, because we're interviewing him on the 19th, I believe. All right. So yeah, it'll be out the following week. So by the time you see this, it'll be next week. There you go. All right. And on that note, Mr. B, I want to say thank you for all your help and all that hard work that you do for this show. So kudos to you, buddy. Thank you.
No problem.
And would you like to say goodnight to everyone?
Good night, everybody.
Always perfectly spelled out by Mr. B. It's like he works hard on the ending, writes it down, and then he says it.
Well, I kind of already did it. I didn't know we were gonna do that part. So I'll say it again. I hope you enjoyed this hideous diversion.
Anything else?
No, nothing.
All right, folks, there you go. There you have it. Thank you very much. We will catch you on the next episode of Hideous Diversion. Good night, everyone.
It's alive. It's alive. It's alive. It's alive. It's alive.
Once believed a crusade for a holy man, put comprehension on the rack.